Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Today we are going to learn the lesson 2, which is ism status of the ism. Okay, before explaining status of the ism, I want to explain very important concept. So we already studied ism, fi'il, harf. I think it's very clear for you guys now how to find out ism, fi'il and harf. Now what you're going to do is, we out of that we're going to take one part of it, which is ism, and we're going to thoroughly study the ism. So up to lesson number 10 we're going to study ism. Okay, now what you're going to study in the ism. So ism has four properties. That's what you're going to study. Ism has four properties. So think ism as a just think as a vehicle. If it ism is a car, then car has four tires. Same like that, ism has four properties. So if you take any ism in the Quran, then we should be able to end of this completing the 10 lesson, we should be able to tell all the four we should be able to tell all the four properties of the ism. So that is the target after completing these 10 lessons. Okay, what are these properties? What you are talking about? First property is status. Every ism has a status. Okay, and second is every ism has a number. Okay, third is every ism has a gender, and fourth is every ism has a type. So now don't worry about what is inside these. Just remember ism as a four tires. Ism as a status, number, gender and type. And in the up to lesson 10, what you're going to study is those four properties. Okay, so this lesson number 2 is about status of a ism. That's what it's called, ism status. So this is the first property of a ism and most important property of the ism. Okay, so if we can get this thing right, it would be easy to analyze and decode the grammar in the Quran. Okay, now there are three status for the ism. There are three status. First property is status, and there are three status for the ism. Okay, what are these status? First one is we call rafa, second is nasib, and third is jar. Okay, this you have to remember: rafa, nasib, jar. Rafa, nasib, jar. Rafa, nasib, jar. Okay, so what is this rafa, nasib, jar? Is, if you take a normal sentence, normally we have learned in basic grammar, every sentence has a subject, then object, then we have something called possessive sentences. I'll explain anyhow these. So subject is, if you take any sentence, any simple sentence, if there is a doer, okay, the doer we call the subject. Okay, the best example, first example is, a teacher entered the classroom. Teacher entered the classroom. So here, first thing in this sentence, what you have to find is the fi'il. Okay, first, if you take a sentence, before finding rafa nasab jar, first thing you're gonna find is the fi'il. Okay, what is a fi'il? A teacher entered the classroom. Fi'il is, the action is here entered. Then now you know the fi'il. Okay, now what you have to do is, you need to find out who did this action. Who did this action? Who entered? Who did this action? Teacher. Teacher did this action. So teacher is the subject, or in Arabic we call rafa, the doer of the act. So act is there, entered, and who did that? Teacher. Then we have to go to the detail of the act. Okay, entered is the act, teacher did it, and what is the detail? Where the teacher entered. Or a detail can be anything, like where, what, when, how, all this comes under detail. So teacher did the act, and where did teacher entered? She entered into a classroom. So classroom become the object, okay, in English, but in Arabic we call nasib. So doer of the act we call rafa, and detail of the act called nasib. Okay, what is this jar? Jar is very easy. Okay, it is something called possessive sentence. It represents the ownership of something. Normally, the jar represent the ownership of the something. So I'll give a simple example, messenger of Allah, messenger of Allah. So it's kind of like Allah's messenger, right? It's give the meaning. Okay, okay. I can also say book of mine. Actually, my book is the word. We can say also in a different way, book of mine. That gives the ownership, kind of ownership. My book. So book of mine. Simply, what is comes after the of. For example, the first example, messenger of Allah. In this example, after of the word Allah comes, that word become jar. That word we call jar. And book of mine or pen of mine, the word after of is mine. That become jar. So simply to find out the jar, you just have to find out what is where its of is there. The word comes after of, we call jar, the possessive sentences. So this concept is very simple. So simply what you have to remember is, as a summary, if go to a sentence, find out the doer. Doer is the called rafa, doer of the act. So I'll completely ignore now English. I'm gonna teach you in Arabic. So doer of the act called rafa, detail of the act called nasib. Any word comes after of, we call jar. So this is the only thing that you have to remember to understand the status of this. Now, we are still up to lesson 1. We did not study any Arabic. Lesson 2, we are not going to study any Arabic. So lesson 1 and 2 is only about understanding the concept. Okay, so we are not touching any Arabic in lesson 1 and 2. Arabic will start in lesson 3. Okay, that's the place we are going to learn Arabic, and we're going to find out how to find out this rafa nasib jar in Arabic. That we're going to learn. Okay, before that, I would like to explain these examples so you will understand more what I'm talking about. So first example I already explained. So we'll go to the second example. A student of his was sleeping soundly. Okay, normally we don't say student of his, we say his student, his student. But the thing is, to understand how the jar works, we have to convert that into putting he of, because what we learn is like after of, whatever comes we call as jar. Okay, so that's why we are converting it to his student. We are converting it student of his. That's not proper way of talking in English, but this is to understand how the jar works in a possessive sentence, and how to understand things in Arabic. This will come handy when we learn Arabic. So that's why when you see my book, you have to convert it to book of mine. His book, book of his. Like that, just convert so you can easily understand where the jar is, because it is after of. Okay. Second sentence is student of his was sleeping soundly. So first thing here, you need to find out what is the fi'l, what is the action, sleeping. Who did the act of sleeping? Is student did the act of sleeping. So student become rafa, the doer become rafa. Okay, how did he sleep? A detail of the act is soundly. Soundly, he slept soundly. So soundly become detail of the act become nasib. And how to find the jar? Just find the of. Whatever comes after of is jar. So here student of his. So his become jar. So easy. It's very easy. But if you don't understand this lesson, at least listen this recording one or twice or thrice, then you will understand this. It's a very simple concept, but you need to clear your head and focus to understand this subject. Okay. Third one, the teacher threw a pencil. Teacher threw a pencil. Then what you have to do is, first thing, find the fi'l. Threw is the fi'l. Who did the act? Teacher. So teacher become rafa. What did teacher through? A detail of act become nasib, which is a pencil. It's a nasib. Very easy. The last one, last example. The teacher's student woke up suddenly. Teacher's student woke up suddenly. Okay. Now, first you go to the act. Act is woke up. Woke up is the act. So who did the woke up act? Student did it. So student become student woke up, right? So student become Rafa. It's very simple. Doer of the act become Rafa. Okay, what are the detail of the act? How did he wake up? How the student wake up is a detail of the act. So suddenly wake up. So it become Nasib. It become Nasib. Okay, now the tricky part. Then what is teacher? There is no off here. Teacher, student, there is no off here. So we need to convert in a way that we can find the jar. How to convert this? Teacher, student. The another way of telling teacher, student is student of teacher. Student of teacher. I understand it doesn't make any sense in English, like it's like it's not a proper English, but to understand the grammar behind it, how to find the jar behind it, we need to do this. So instead of saying teacher student, you have to bring the student first and put the off and bring the teacher back. So student of teacher. Okay, student of teacher woke up suddenly. So here, after off, teacher is there, so teacher will become jar. So mashallah, very simple concept, okay, but very powerful. So we are going to understand every ism in the Quran, if it is Rafa, Nasab or Jar. So to understand that, we need to understand this concept. So this, whatever we are learning now, going to help you in this again. This is going to help you when we read in the Quran ayat, the last lesson, because after that we're going to learn all the other properties of the ism, and also we're going to find out next lesson how to find the Rafa Nasib Jar status based on the sound that comes from the Arabic word. So that will be so interesting that you will amaze, like all these years we are reciting Quran, why these sounds are there. So we will realize, like, because these basic sounds that we learn in our kindergarten or our Hadia, we will understand, okay, this is the reason for these sounds. It will be very interesting lesson. Next lesson will be very interesting, but this lesson is powerful, one of most important lesson to understand the decode the grammar in the Quran. Okay, then finally what I'll do is I'll post the assignments again. As I said earlier, go through the assignment. If you have time, take a printout, or there's a PDF writer, write in the image. Also options are there. If possible, do the assignments. Minimum what you have to do is think the answers in your head. And then I'll post the answers, then check whether your answers are correct. That way we can learn. And if you have any doubt, any question, any difficult questions in the assignments, just ask the question. I will try to explain and make it easy for you, inshallah. Okay, hope this is clear. Then we will meet in our next lesson, inshallah. If you know someone, if you know people that they love to understand the Quran while reading, please share this message. Don't keep it yourself. Okay, when I am learning, I want this to everyone to learn this, understand the Quran the way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helped me to understand. So please share this lesson. You can share to others. You don't need to, if you want to add in the group, add. It doesn't matter. Share with your families, friends. If you have kids more than 10 years, they can absorb this. Okay, so please share these lessons with them also, because just now we started, so we can learn together with them. If you can share the lesson with others. Okay, Jazakallah khair. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to understand the Quran and get more and more closer to Him with the help of the Quran as well, inshallah. Ameen.